This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are about to begin our meeting for today. Do we have any volunteers on the prayer? Okay.
Lord, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for the freedom we have to come together and do your work through county government. Lord, be with us as we make decisions for the best interest of the citizens of Dooley County. Be with us as we talk through those things and do what's right. In your name we pray.
Let's all stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. We have before you a proposed agenda. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I got some items I'd like to add. And I don't know, you should have it on your back page of your agenda. Item number 12, for discussion about some animal control issues. Item number 13, update on the funding. We have received the funding request from the 8th Judicial Administrative District for the Cordele Judicial Circuit. And number 14, an update on our request for funding through Sanford Bishop's office.
Okay. David, anything you want to add?
No, sir, mine's on that.
Okay.
No, sir.
Tim, Eugene,
No, I'm good.
Tony?
I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
All right then.
I move, Mr. Chairman, we approve this agenda
That's
with
it.
additions.
That's it.
Okay. There has been motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands. Okay, that motion carried. Our old minutes were emailed and mailed to all of us. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve is recorded.
There has been motion and second. Before we put it on the book, do we have any discussion on it? Or correction or whatever? If not, all in favor by the show of hands. Okay, that motion carried. Mr. Steve is on you.
Well, Jared, if you a few minutes early, but you ain't got anybody else coming with you, do you?
No, sir.
Come on up. Jared McCarthy with the CEO for Southwest Georgia United. You can either stand up there or you can sit at the table, whichever one you rather do.
Okay, well, I'll just stand because I tend to kind of sway back and forth and walk a little bit. But yes, sir, thank you all so much for having me today. I just want to take the opportunity, recently filled the position of CEO with Southwest Georgia United, nonprofit providing various services in the area. And I want to take the opportunity to come up and just introduce myself. I know a lot of people might already be familiar with the organization, but over time the services might change a little bit. People in the room might change a little bit, but they're in here. And I just wanted to make that personal connection and reach out and just talk a little bit about what we do. First thing, I'll just talk about myself a little bit, just so you know who's standing in front of you, and then shift attention more importantly to the organization. But I'm originally from Macon County, which is of course one of y'all's neighbors, and went to the University of Georgia for both my undergraduate and graduate. Loved it there, but loved it here more. Came back home. Worked with the Regional Commission for 15 years that served this area as well. Did a little work here, mainly in dueling. Part of that being putting in a second well and also painting the water tower. That's been some time, but those are things we're proud of, the impact it had there. Just always liked the area in general and was excited to be working here again with you. From the Regional Commission, I went on to county management roles for about 4 years. So all of that is a bit of background in local government. I hope that particularly makes me easy to work with for county government. And I think one of the things I just want to offer as we continue to evolve as an organization, I hope we can do whatever things might be particularly challenging for local governments. I know having sat in a seat similar to Mr. Steve's, that it's difficult to go on private property, for example, and do things, different projects and whatnot. So that might be one way we help kind of fill that gap as a partner and whatnot. And those are all things for future conversation, just kind of food for thought, how we might partner and plug in as part of the team that serves your community. And of course, I know this is a very good team of commissioners, very, again, very excited just to be making that connection. As far as our organization goes, we really have a four-pronged attack as far as it goes with serving people and changing their lives and putting them on a positive track with some positive momentum for their lives. First off, we have the Community Development Financial Institution, which is really just a fancy way of saying our loan department. Underneath that department, our business loans in particular are our biggest program. But overall, we accept credit risks beyond the tolerance of regular lenders in order to serve low-income people and communities lacking adequate access to borrowing. Through the business loans specifically, we must create jobs in lower income, minority, and other underserved communities. So I'm very proud that we have that strategy of particularly creating jobs in those areas and for those communities. I think that's very needed nationwide, and very happy to be doing that here. I should note that our loan program is statewide, but that of course includes Dooley County, and that's a particular focus we do hope to have. Also, we have a home repair loan program where we can go up to $10,000 to help people keep their homes in good shape, and it can be structured to fit the needs of fixed income individuals such as people with disabilities and the elderly. They would be able to. I'm very proud of that program because, again, coming from local government, I know a lot of areas see a lot of abandoned houses and whatnot, and I think to some degree, a lot of times when people are in financially stressful situation, one of the things that they let go of is their house maintenance, just out of necessity. And that gets to a certain point where you can't get the house back. It's just financially too much of a burden. And you end up with all these abandoned homes throughout your community that create all these other issues. So I'm very proud that this is a program that helps get in front of that and tries to work with people to keep their homes that they already own. They don't wait until they're homeless or until they're living with another family member. It's very proactive. We also have a microloan program for small businesses. And they have to have 10 or less full-time equivalent employees. And we can do as much as $50,000 there. This is more flexible than our larger program for business loans that I just mentioned. We can do things like supplies, furniture and fixtures, renovations, and debt refinance. So it's good to be able to do those extra things for the smaller businesses to help them stabilize or start operations. We work with startups as well. So on that note too, if anybody is aware of anybody looking to start up a business in Dooley County, we'll be very happy to hear from them. There is an application process, of course, they go through. They do need to have a business plan. And I understand Southwest Georgia Technical College is very good about helping them put together a business plan. And once they get to us, if they're lacking anything in terms of business content, what they're able to do as a business, part of what we do is a technical assistance in helping them further evolve their business plan a bit and get them to where they need to be. So we don't just shut the door if it's not perfect. We continue to work with them a bit and try to get them there. With all programs combined, as of the end of February, we have a total of 26 business loans totaling $6.1 million, 23 micro business loans totaling $441,000, and 26 housing loans totaling $211,000 roughly. That is roughly 75 loans with a volume of $6.8 million. We still have $2.4 million available to loan out, and we are looking at additional loan funds that we can obtain because we want to continue to meet this need. We want to continue to be proactive and do all that we can for the community. Our youth build program, I'm very proud of this one. This is another one that It is proactive in a different sense in that it gets involved in people's lives early on. We serve youth 16 to 24 who are school dropouts or basic skills deficient and are members of disadvantaged populations. I think that access to education is critical. The job market's becoming more and more competitive. So this gives kids and young adults a chance that maybe have struggled at some point to get going in a positive direction. We help them prepare for high school diplomas, GEDs, vocational school, or college. We teach all participants construction skills and also offer a flexible range of other occupations. They build or rehabilitate homes for the homeless or low-income people in their communities. And what's nice about that, that has a double impact. That helps the people you're building for and educates them as well. We teach them a range of things such as beyond job training. They learn accountability. We stress community service. We help them with employment interview preparation. I think that's important. A lot of people don't know how to interview for a job, and it's a very nervous, stressful thing for people to go into for the first time. We help them with resume building, completing the job applications, financial literacy, career assessments, and job placement assistance. We also help connect them to other services beyond what we do directly, such as childcare, transportation, and substance abuse. So really, if there's anything beyond the scope of what we can feasibly do, we really want to stick with them and connect them to the other services in the area, and help them get the help they need. We also provide a little bit of follow-up assistance after program completion, things such as employment assistance and sometimes supportive services such as food or transportation. We're mostly funded through the Department of Labor, and right now we're just gearing up with a year of funding that we've received, and we are targeting to have 60 plus people. And we already have 30 people on the waiting list that we did not recruit. They came to us. So we feel pretty good about meeting that 60 plus number. And I should specify that this program is in Crisp County, Dooley County. We're just expanding into Sumter County. And we have a project site in Newnan, actually, as well. So that's something I just want to make sure made everybody aware of. If there's anybody here in Dooley County that you think would like to participate, we would be more than happy to have. Very excited about that project. Beyond the federal funds, though, there are actually some things that those funds don't cover that we always welcome some assistance with. Don't worry, I'm not here to ask for money, but if you know anybody that would like to make any donations of this sort, that's always helpful as well. Food and water for the pantry. Sometimes the people that come into this program are financially in pretty dire straits. They might not eat regularly. Some may even be homeless. So we try to have some snacks and water and things there to help them out nutrition-wise. Mentoring activities would be fantastic. There's not a lot of volunteers for that these days. Personal items and also sometimes clothing items. Although we don't have a person at this time that needs clothing at this exact moment, it would still be nice to have a little bit of stockpile where we can provide that, especially when we get to the colder weather months. And then just finally, a little bit more briefly, these other two programs are a little easier to sum up. Asset management. This is our low-income rental housing. This in a lot of instances, this keeps people from becoming homeless. So we have, on the front end, we have the loan program to try to keep people in their own homes, and for those that can't, we have low-income rental housing again, try to keep them from becoming homeless. We have 121 units. These are mostly in Cordele, but we do have 3 here in Dooley County and Vienna, where we've tried to expand out a little bit, and maybe in the future we could expand further, funding willing, whatever funding we can find out there, if that's something the county would be interested in. We typically keep this about 98% occupied, and really it would be 100%, but that 2% is due to a little bit of natural turnover. And we generally go in and provide repairs to the house to get them in decent shape for the next household moving in. And all in all, we've actually had a waiting list that recently reached 60 people that are, or excuse me, 60 households that we had to close because at some point you have so many people in front of you in line, you don't want to leave them on that they're going to have an available unit in uniform. But we are trying to address that need. We'll soon begin construction on 24 units known as Christian Homes, which is in 25th Avenue in Cordele, Georgia. Those will be pretty high quality. I'm very proud of those. I think they did a responsible job with the money they spent, though it wasn't excessive spending, but it's good housing, and I'm very proud that they'll have that. And then just finally, housing counseling. This is another statewide service. We provide guidance with mortgages, foreclosure prevention, again, financial literacy, which I think is very important, credit counseling, budgeting, and home buyer education. So that is the quickest I think I could condense all that we do. And just want to say I'm very proud of this organization and how proactive they are. That goes down to the every staff member that we have, and I hope it's obvious the different ways they've all reached out and tried to impact the community. So as I said today, I really just wanted to kind of introduce and will introduce myself and reintroduce the services we provide. Hopefully we can have more conversations in the future about what we do in Dooley County. I welcome the input as to what the needs are here. I don't presume to be the expert on that myself. And, you know, of course, welcome that input from leadership. Of course, you also have Mr. Tim Robinson on our board, the direct connection there. Very, very glad to be plugging in that way, but can contact me as well. If there's any questions or anything, it's pretty obvious I could babble all day. Happy to answer any questions.
You want to briefly mention the upcoming 30th year celebration?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. On April 24th, we're having our 30th anniversary, where we are celebrating just how long this organization has been around and been making an impact. Everybody should have an invite with all the information on it.
They do.
Okay, good deal. So we'd love to have you there. I think it's a great networking event beyond just, you know, being there for Southwest Georgia United. I think it's a good opportunity for all the local governments and service providers and whatnot to get together and just kind of be in the same space, meet one another, and maybe even strategize a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I didn't know all that was involved in this program. I'll be calling you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look forward to it.
Yeah. You're the one that's writing tape.
How much, on the $10,000, how much interest, is it based on income or anything?
You know, we
What's the interest
actually,
rate on it?
for the home loans,
Mm-hmm.
we actually don't have a percentage number on it that we advertise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because of the flexibility where we try to work around fixed income individuals. So let me just say, I think it would be very reasonable.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Jared.
Yes, sir.
Gene?
Yes, sir.
Gene Allen's here to give the report of our last fiscal year audit.
I won't go ahead and get no tail now. Yes.
Thought about it.
Some names, some kind of financial.
Yeah, call us up.
Right.
See them tell me about that money.
That could have been a good start for you.
Y'all have a copy of the report and Gene's gonna go over it. Get the high spots, not go over every single page.
It doesn't take him long.
You know that, don't you? Okay, this is for the year of September 30th, 24. I want to go to page 9. I'd like to go through the financial statements first and then come back to the opinion letter.
Which one of these is page 9?
That's revenue for all the funds. This is all of the major funds that the county has. I'm not going to go over it word by word, line by line. I'll just go through the general fund, go across the board, sheriff fund, et cetera, transportation, and I just would pick the total revenue at first, come all the way across, and drop down to expenses. Total revenue for the general fund, 14,524,332. I want to make sure everybody's in the right spot. Okay? All right. Expenses of 14,771,813. That gives me a negative figure of 247,481. Got other bond expenses, principal and interest on debt, 750,222. Gives me a negative figure of 997,703. Beginning of the year it was 207,969. Had a drop of 997. Still positive, 1,081,466. Sheriff fund revenue 1,752,386. Expenditure is 726,342. Excess is 102,644. Beginning equity is 466,327. Ending equity is 1,492,371. Transportation Investment Act revenue of 1,212,000. Expenditure is 1,391, negative 179. Positive at the beginning of the year was 589. It balanced at the end of the year is 410,712. Special local option 25. It has not. This time you had not received any revenue in it. Local option 2019 to 24 received 1,543. Spent 1,582. Had a negative figure of 38,000. Beginning figure first of the year 895,360. Balance 856,679. LMIG revenue is 2,061. Expenditures is 1,448. Gain of 612. Beginning of the year was 1,198. End of the year is 1,810. Go to page 10. American Rescue Plan, you had no revenue. You had expenditures of 1,004. Beginning of the year, you had revenue of 1,020. Debt was 16,579. Of course, y'all know all these different funds for COVID and all that's in the past. Health Promotion Welfare. Got a grant for 3,000. Spent 2,818. These a difference of 182. Beginning of the year was 7,901 for a bottom figure of 8,032. Georgia Trauma Equipment got a grant for 2,968. Spent 33,118. Negative figure of $350. Beginning of the year, you had 959. That's a figure of 609,000. Do the county transit. Had a figure of 330. Revenue, you spent 340,188. That was negative 9,856. Had a prior balance of 9,856. So that's a zero balance in that account. Georgia Forestry, you received 4,704. Spent 4,704. That left a zero balance in that account. Opium settlement, you had received 33,151. You spent nothing. Equity is 33,151. Beginning equity was 23,134. You have a balance of 56,285. And that's the total governmental funds. Total revenue was 21,467,000. Expenditure of 21,275,000. That's positive 192. Had different payments on loans and so forth. That was 750. Brought in a negative figure down to 557. Beginning of the year, you had 6,291,000. End of the year was 557,33, 728. Is there any questions on the revenue? Any of the funds? Can we go to page 6 and 7 then? Six and 7. This is the balance sheet for all the different funds that was on the prior page we just talked about. General fund has a total asset balance of 2,013,000. Expenditures, different debt and so forth, 1,232,000. Unassigned was 1,081. End of the year was 108,146. End of the year was 2313 at 985. That's positive. Sheriff fund begin assets 1,492. Restricted 1,492. Equity at the end of the year is 1,492. Transportation Investment Act, assets of 410,000. Equity is 410,000. Remaining balance 410,712. All these figures on this page is positive figures, and it's almost always assuming restricted cash for one reason or another. Special local option sales tax, 25 to 30. Restricted cash of 1,000. Nothing happened. No liabilities. Equity by the end of the year was 0. Special option sales tax received 927. This is assets. Payables was 70,000. Net is 856,000. 856,000. Pull up a 70 to it. End of the year is 927,386. LMIG assets on hand 1,810,000. Equity 1,810,000. End of the year balance is 1,810,000. American Rescue Plan. You have assets of 116,579. Equity is 16,579. That's to the end of the year balance, 16,579. Help promotion. Assets of 8,083. Equity 8,083. End of the year is 8,083. Georgia Trauma. And assets at 609. Equity of 609. Through the county transit system, this one had no balance at all at the end of the year. And you've received that version. Most of the time it does close out to 0 at the end of the year. Georgia Forestry had no balance in that one. Assets in OPID was 56,285. That's the equity in OPID, 56,285. Total assets, 7 million, far right hand side, 7,037. Liabilities, 1,304. Equity is 5,733,728. That's all the major funds. Any questions on that? Let's go to page 35. Top of the pages. The only assets y'all purchased during the year was two motor graders. We set those up on a loan, payable over 5 years. That's only equity. That's the only piece of equipment you bought during the year. That's the only debt you set up during the year. Any questions on that? Okay, let's go to the opinion letter then. Page 1. All right, this is what we did. I'd like to read the opinion. We have audited the accompanying basic financial statements of the governmental activities, the business type activities, the aggregate discrete presented component units, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of Duthy County, Georgia, as of for the year then ended September 30, 2024, and the related notes, financial statements which collectively comprise the Duthy County basic financial statements as listed in the table of contents. We did not audit the health department. We did not audit the Duthy County Industrial Development Authority. Those are audited by other auditors. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respect the respective financial position of the governmental activity, the business type activities, and each major fund of the Duthy County, Georgia, as of September 30, 2024, and the respective changes in financial position and, where applicable, cash flows thereof, and the respective budgetary comparison for the general fund for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principle generally accepted in the United States of America. Basis for our opinion, we conducted our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. The standards of applicable financial audits contained in government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. Our responsibilities on those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statement of our report. We are required to be independent of Duthy County, Georgia, and to meet our ethical responsibilities in accordance with requirements related to in our audits. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinions. Of course, y'all have certain responsibilities that y'all are very much aware of, so I will stop at this point. I need to get the board to approve this so we send it to the state of Georgia.
We need a motion on the floor.
So move, Mr. Chairman, we approve the audit.
That's it.
There has been motion and second. Do we have any discussion on before we vote on it? Or anything that was said? If not, all in favor by the show of hands? That motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna review this by Monday next week, then we can go to the state. And if I can gather up all this paper, that's all I want to keep. All the opinions and so forth.
You're welcome to keep it if you want it.
And if not, you pick up what's left and I'll pick it up later. Just don't want to lay it loose and so forth. Well, thank y'all so much.
All right.
What can we spend, opioid money on, 56,000?
Well, you get the, well, I was telling you, Gina, we have,
Yeah.
we can,
Very
Thank you, Gene.
narrow
Oh, you did.
For real.
options, and Don and I are actually talking about trying to come up with some recommendations on how to spend the money. Okay, so let's get back on the
and one
agenda.
more thing, but what about that 16,000 we got left over? The American Rescue.
Oh, it got spent, okay,
This is as of.
that was as of September 30th of last year. And that money you either had to have it obligated by December 31st or spent by December 31st. And I got y'all approved, we went ahead and spent that money on, what was it, the new unfunded mandate from the state for the PTSD insurance for first responders. That money's zeroed out as of December 31st. But that's been taken care of, Mr. Davis.
That was the thing about budget.
I understand. All right, so, we've taken care of the minutes. You've got a copy of the financial report for the, end of February. Take that, look at it. If you got any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. Item number 3, there's still a vacancy on the DFAX board. We'll keep that on the agenda. Number 4, just for information, the Dooley County Chamber of Commerce and the Dooley County Family Connection will host their 28th annual awards luncheon and meeting at 12 noon on Wednesday, April the 2nd at the Unadilla Community and Conference Center. If you plan on attending, they'd like you to RSVP. If you'll let Linda know, she'll be glad to RSVP for you.
You go, put me down.
Item number 5, the annual legislative luncheon hosted by the River Valley Regional Commission is scheduled for Thursday, May the 22nd at South Georgia Tech in Americas. If you plan on attending that, please let Linda know and she'll RSVP for you on that. We'll keep this on the agenda to remind everybody. Item number 6, just a reminder, this year's ACCG annual conference is scheduled for April 24th to 27th in Savannah. If you haven't already notified Linda, you may be out of luck getting a motel room, but she'll do her best to try. If you haven't, let her know. Because those rooms usually go pretty fast.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 7, the Planning Commission met earlier this month on March the 10th for their monthly meeting. They had 3 zoning requests in front of them. Request number 1 was from the Huddlestons for a conditional use on a parcel down at Drayton Woods on Flint River. The property is currently zoned R2 multifamily. The conditional use was requested to allow a recreational vehicle to be placed on the property. The planning commission met, like I said, as met on March 10th. They voted unanimously to recommend that the county commissioners deny the request. Conditional use request goes before the planning commission first. They hold a public hearing on it. Then the planning commission votes to make a recommendation to the county commissioners. So in this case, they voted to recommend that the request be denied. Then 2 days later, the applicants withdrew their request. So there's nothing for y'all to have to take any action on. The other 2 items that the planning commission had was really involving one parcel. And that parcel this is Highway 41 coming up out of Unadilla. This is Elko Road. This is Highway 41, Trico Gin. That's the parcel in question. This whole property here several years back was bought and appeared to be divided up into potential residential lots. But this is the parcel that the planning commission had before them. It's a 3-acre parcel, right? Okay. So let's go back to the agenda. And basically the owner was requesting it to be split into, they want to make 3 parcels out of that 1 parcel. It's zoned agricultural. So the minimum lot size is 1 acre. So they met the requirement for a 1 acre lot size. Hold on, and if you can imagine sort of this, it gets kind of, picture this red line is that 3-acre lot that we just saw. They're proposing to make 3 lots out of it. This unshaded lot here, the yellow shaded lot is, and then this one. So they all would be 3 acres. If they meet that, our zoning ordinance also requires you to have 150 foot of road frontage. This parcel would have 150 foot of road frontage. This parcel would only have 25 foot of road frontage, and the other parcel in the back would have 25 foot of road frontage. That's why they requested the variance, to vary from the 150 foot of road frontage. The planning commission, if I miss, come on up, Glenn. Should have brought him up to start with already. If I misspeak, you let me know.
In a kind way.
So the planning commission, and this is a variance request before the planning commission, that they have the authority to issue. We're just letting y'all know for information purposes what the planning commission did. The planning commission voted to approve the variance request.
That's accurate.
So that's all the county's involved in. But if you'll notice here, there's this little dotted line. Let me zoom in. Where on Highway 41 frontage. Come on. Yes, this parcel had road frontage. This parcel had road frontage. But since that is a state-controlled highway, DOT is not going to issue them a permit for a driveway there, and then 25 foot down the road a driveway there. The existing driveway to that original 3-acre parcel is right here. So they have given they're given an easement to this yellow parcel to come across here to get to the driveway. And this back parcel would have the easement to come across here to get to the driveway. So that's just for information. And it makes sense. The state you don't need driveway 25 foot apart. So anyway, that's just, none of this requires any action by y'all. I'm just sharing information with y'all in regard to
That
that.
person, when in that lot right there, that's unshaded,
Sir,
the lot that's unshaded,
this one,
yeah, man, that, in other words, that's a driveway that they're gonna have to go up in, so
so,
they're gonna be aware.
yeah, they're gonna have to be aware.
What are the size parcels on either side of this?
Okay, let's go back to the,
I believe there are 3 to 5 acre lots all throughout
That's what-
there,
I was gonna say, that's what they used to be.
and they're all going to have to get some type of a variance. This was subdivided well before my entering into this
Where's-
position.
oh, come on.
You got to refresh it.
Yeah.
So, and I asked the state when I spoke to Georgia State DOT about with this one and the one driveway. I said, well, next to it, there's 2 50-foot entrances because the driveways have to be 270 foot apart. I said, so somebody has already subdivided this to get to the rear ones. What are we going to do for them? He said, they will have to apply for a special exception and there's no guarantee. So they may be landlocked. So you can't even get to the property.
See, this,
Helicopter.
this
Yeah,
lot,
helicopter. Yeah.
whoever, divided this, they created this parcel,
Some of that swamp.
and then they created the next parcel here. Like I said, all they would need to do to comply with the county's ordinance is just request a variance.
Correct.
But then whether they can get a permit for a driveway, that's between them and Georgia Department of Transportation.
When they get ready to build though, we'll have to say which way they could turn their house and all that.
There's that land has been selling very rapidly. I've had many people contact me. Those 2, no one's contacted me yet. So I'm assuming they're still for sale. But the reason they're selling so well, just up the street is Houston County, and they're selling property there. The acreage in Houston County is about 20,000+ an acre, and right here it's about 10,000 an acre. So that's why these are selling fast, and folks are trying to get on it.
Was there any opposition to this?
None. I'm sorry. I apologize. There was a couple here that has property in this area right up on that. They have a 5-acre lot and they don't want houses there. So they were against the subdivision and of the property. They said, we want less houses, not more houses. And I said, well, we're meeting the requirement. And so that was their one concern about having more houses rather than less houses.
Now, was the people that surround there, was they notified?
Yes, everybody was
They
notified.
were notified, not just by the sign, but like,
Oh, there's no, we don't call people and tell them.
Required to post a notice on
is that
the,
all?
and publish it in the newspaper.
Now, you made a statement with the lady that evidently that lives out there, and probably the lady that said she didn't want the drag strip out there. I'm assuming that might be the same. That might be the same lady that denied all that, so that guy developed that into that. I know the guy that used to have all that. So what if she doesn't want that? What authority would she have?
I don't understand the question.
She was just voicing her opinion.
That's all she doing.
That's all she was doing. So that's the planning commission held a public hearing
Uh-huh.
to receive public comments to take under consideration before they voted whether to recommend it or not.
Did they know about the driveway issues?
Yes. I've spoken to the owner and the person that owns the 3 acres, she has 2 sisters and she's having her sisters. She wanted to put everybody on one piece of property. I said, we can't do that. So she goes, well, what I want to do is the reason I bought it. And I said, well, you can subdivide it. You are allowed to do that, but you have to go through the process to get approval. And in the process, we discovered about, which I didn't know until then, about the 270-foot span for driveways. And so I got back with JB Faircloth, explained to him what's going on. He goes, so he redrew it with the easement and spoke to him about it. And they said, that's no problem. They said, it's all family anyway. We're not worried about it. But they want to have their own title and when they get a loan for a piece of property, the bank wants to have clear rights to the land. And so by having that easement off the road, they have clear rights to the land.
Did the planning commission, I'm sorry,
Oh,
Go ahead on.
family right
did the
now.
planning commission know about the issues of the state DOT
Yes, sir. I explained it to
on
them.
that property and the future issues that
And
are
it's going to
surrounding
come
it?
up again. Yes, I explained we're going to have a problem. When I showed it to them, I said, we have a problem because it was approved before my tenure, the subdivision of the property. So we're stuck with it because what happens right now, there's, do you want me to go into the process of submission for property? Okay. Right now, a person can subdivide their property and bypass the zoning administrator and submit it directly online to the county tax
The clerk of Superior Court.
clerk. And she'll sign off on it and register it. And then when it comes up for them to get a permit, I look at it and there's a problem. And I have run across, that's one reason why we're having so many meetings, is because the process is in place that you can bypass the administrator. If I see this, I can stop it, suggest alternatives to prevent issues like we're going to have right here, and try to get something in place. And this is happening. This is one reason why we're having 2 to 3 variance requests come up, because there's not a way to, unless y'all decide as a board to regulate, they have to come to me to make sure that they're in compliance before they go to the county clerk. Because right now they can bypass it.
Back when Gary Houston was here, back then, if you had the 3 acre parcel, and you wanted to divide it into three, if you wanted to divide a parcel into more than one parcel, you got a surveyor to do a plat, and you took that plat over to the courthouse to have it recorded. Well, somewhere many years ago, the county adopted a subdivision ordinance, which basically said before any new plat got recorded at the courthouse that was dividing the parcel, had to be signed off by the zoning administrator. And Gary Houston, so when somebody went on the courthouse, they tell me, we can't record this till you go get the zoning administrator. Well, a few years back, the state moved to electronically submitting plats. You can't walk over there with a paper plat and have it recorded. Is that correct, Bert?
That's correct.
So now, how do I say this? The clerk's office is now automatically recording plats without being approved by the zoning administrator, which results in these type of issues.
How you gonna get 3 wells and 3 septic tanks?
And right, and now because he had been downsized.
Yeah.
My question is, why is it that developer didn't cut a road through there?
A swamp. 74C50. That's, you're not putting anything back there.
They can put them in, but a road should have been back there.
Yeah.
And we don't been places where they said that it couldn't be. And those developers, when they're making a dollar bill, they're gonna find a way. But that would have eliminated all this chaos that we're going
Well,
through
evidently,
right now.
these plats this subdivision got recorded without going through
Yeah.
and this is before Glenn's time, so this wasn't his fault. And I'm assuming they didn't even go through, I don't know.
And that's part of the problem with having the ability. It's an easy thing to do digital, to submit something. It's less, handwork and footwork. But the problem is it creates dilemmas like this, because this is in place, and it would have to become an official decision by the commissioners that they cannot submit it to them without my signature in place. Right now, they're allowed to.
What changed? I thought you said we passed a thing of when they used to take it on paper, it had to be signed. What does electronic change that? They shouldn't record them until he signs off on them. Why would that have? Because I can go to the assessor's office right now on a 5 acre lot, and I can draw a line. I don't even have to pay a survey.
Well, you're not, but
and then I can submit that. It gets, I'm in it right now. It gets divided over there. I can quit claim half of it, and there's no deed record ever of that thing. But why did the electronics stop them from?
We need to get back and have some more conversations with the clerk over there. So we got things we need to move on today. Also from the planning commission.
But let me ask one more question on that.
Okay.
So they got city water out there?
No.
Why they gonna get by the septic tank
Probably about to share one.
One acre, well, they're gonna share one well, but I'd had the
share one.
health department check.
When
Yeah.
somebody dies,
Until somebody dies, but they did check and they'll have the septics far enough to have a well per property. And that was the minimum, that's the purpose of the 1 acre. And
Each property can have a well and a septic.
each one can, yes. But to save money, they're gonna share a well
For right now.
for now.
Tell them system.
Sister don't fall right.
Okay, all right, let's move. We got, okay. Also at the planning commission, they took action on a previous request for go back at their December meeting. They had a request for a conditional use from the Hardisons to put an RV vehicle on a parcel down at Drake by the river. And the planning commission held a public hearing on December the 9th in regard to that. And at that meeting, upon motion by Turner, second by Averill, the planning commission voted unanimously to table the matter until a better understanding of the ordinance is discovered. So that was the December meeting in regard to that item. Then in the January meeting, they voted to postpone it again. So then in February, the minutes show it wasn't even no action taken on that matter. Then on their meeting earlier this month, they considered it and they voted to recommend that the request be denied. So now that's a recommend. This was a conditional use. So the planning commission initially hears conditional use request, then they make a recommendation to the county commission. Well, now they finally get around to making a recommendation that it be denied. But we can't hear that today because we have historically to try to speed the process up. Once a conditional use once Glenn receives a conditional use, he's got to schedule a public hearing for the planning commission. They meet the second Monday of each month. So we have historically tried to, then we automatically schedule our public hearing, our second meeting of that month, to take action on the planning commission's recommendation. So the planning commission initially held their public hearing back in December 9th. We had a public hearing scheduled for whatever the second Thursday or third Thursday in December was. But when we got to the third Thursday, the planning commission didn't make a recommendation. They didn't make a recommendation, so we didn't hold our public hearing. So long story short, we've got to schedule a public hearing for this, which is just going to delay the process. But yeah. So anyway, so we will it's going to get kicked into our second meeting in April because you gotta advertise it 15 days prior to the actual public hearing. So that's going to kick it to our second meeting in April before we take any action on that. That's a long version of it. All right, thank you, sir.
Since we got it, what about the man that called you about? That called me about the.
Oh, the issue with the potential violation of the flood damage prevention ordinance.
Yes, sir. We have there's the corner of Drayton and I've lost the name of the other road there, Drayton Loop, and it's called Moore's Land. It's an RV there.
Moree Landing.
Yeah. And what they did is they sculptured the land, put up timbers, backfilled it, and then they applied for a permit to put a carport there on top of this structure, the landscaping that they did. So the question is, here it is, 10-2, all the way up in the corner there. 26, Drayton Loop, up a little bit. So that they put up timbers, backfilled dirt, stone, and leveled out approximately a 40-foot by 40-foot area, which I didn't even know about until they applied for permit. And I asked them, what is their intentions on anchoring it? And they sent me all these photos that they had already done the work. And so I didn't issue the permit because it's in violation of the flood ordinance that we have in place. And so I was asking as far as what actions would the commissioners like for me to take place in. So you see the large area that they have filled up.
What is it?
It's a pad where they want to put a carport, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Technically, that's a violation. Is that a violation to the extent that we're going to make an issue out of it?
I'm still lost. I mean, I ain't.
Since this property, or do you see where that pile of looks like gravel? I don't know if it is or not. Where they built up, trying to make a flat section to put a carport.
And toward the large tree, you see the corner. It's built up approximately 2 foot, and that means that they are diverting.
This is in the flood zone, and technically, you're not supposed to alter the elevation of the ground in a flood zone without going through a process.
And through the processes, you got to go through Department of Natural Resources and get a flood geologist that can tell what type of flow rate will change if there's a flood because of what you've done to the land, and how it will impact your neighbor, because it's going to cause it to dam up and push on your neighbor more.
Did I see Murray Landing? Is all the adjoining Murray property?
Well, did you tell them all of that? 'Cause I couldn't explain it to them because I didn't know what was going on.
They didn't ask. When they got the permit for the carport to go there.
When they requested the permit
I'm
for the
sorry.
carport.
Yes, when they requested, because I haven't issued it yet. I've put it on hold until I got clarity on what we would like to do as far as enforcement of the flood ordinance.
Well, in case he called me back, I'm gonna relay him to you or Steve.
Either one.
Yeah,
No matter.
so that you all can understand that, because he the way he was talking, he didn't fully. He thought it was just a personality conflict.
Yeah, because he got told no.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not finna.
When was the last time we ran into this? Well, the thing is, if you don't do it here, if something we think is more major down the road happens and we make them do it, they're gonna use this as a.
Well, I mean, just
In fact, there's a neighbor 2 down from that wants to change the landscape in his yard.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, they're doing it. Oh, and exactly what he said. They're doing it over there. And I said, I've just discovered that. That's going to be brought before the commissioners. I'll have an answer for you.
Right. See, because you all know more about what's going on than me.
like I
Y'all
said,
deal with that's why I always
in
tell
real
you.
simple terms, as I understand it, says that's in the flood zone.
Yeah.
You can't alter the elevation without going through a process.
So they could go through the process and get a geologist to describe what would happen and get approval through the Department of Natural Resources. It's going to cost them some money, but otherwise it would have to be removed back to its natural landscape, what it was.
And we're not the ones that classified that as a flood zone.
Mhm.
That's the federal declaration of defining the flood zone. So,
Okay.
and so for our time being, that's the position Glenn's taking.
Okay, I mean, as long as we got the facts to support it, I don't have no issue with it. And again, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm not gonna tell nobody anything unless they relate to you all,
All right.
because there's a reason why.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Exactly.
move forward with.
So I'm gonna tell him when he called me back, because he said he gonna call me.
So they go to the Department of Natural Resources?
Well, it goes to me to tell them that they're in fault, and then I'm supposed to contact. I just want to make sure I'm allowed to contact Department of Natural Resources that there's a violation, and then have it follow up. There's going to be some consequences. There's going to be some people upset because the Department of Natural Resources is going to come in, and they could fine them in our present ordinance if they do not start to rectify. They could be fined $500 a day. That's what it says. Do I follow that?
Does anybody know these people?
Yeah, that's Roger Wilkes.
Who?
Roger Wilkes.
Used to have past furniture.
I mean, I'm just
But we have-
the reason.
We have held on south of there, the guy that started doing we held his feet to the fire to, for
Or will
the
be fair.
Yeah,
flood
that's
zone.
what I'm
So
saying.
everybody
That's
has his
right.
number.
Right.
You have his phone number?
I have everybody's phone number. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan.
we gotta get back on the agenda before we got lots of things going on. Okay. All right.
Should try to call him and tell him before.
But he said he was gonna call me back after the meeting today, and I'm gonna just relay him to Steve and Mr. Glenn.
Item number 10, just looking forward, in June, we normally meet the first and third Thursdays of the month. The third Thursday in June is June 19th. That's a holiday for Juneteenth Day. So I'm assuming we want to reschedule that. And we ain't got to know today, but we do need to try to make plans of when we want to meet for our second meeting in June. We'll be in the budget process by then, so should be anyway. Because normally we start the budget process when we close out the books of May, but since we have been running late, we're going to start the budget process when we close out the books of April this time to try to get ahead of the game and not be running late.
Have it the following week, bam, bam, since you in budget. 12.
26 and then the third. will be the-
26 and the 3rd of July.
Yes, it's going to be back to back. You go to 12th, or either way, you're going to be back to back. But
Well, we have to just make a sacrifice.
we ain't got to know today.
Right.
We'll have it on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay. We added an item for animal control, but we wanted to talk about that in executive session, potential litigation. Okay,
And personnel.
and personnel. Item number 13, we've got the funding request from the 8th Judicial Administrative District for the Cordele Judicial Circuit. The 8th Judicial District sort of handles several circuits. I'm not sure how many circuits, but Cordele Judicial Circuit is one of them. The Cordele Judicial Circuit consists of Dooley County, Chris County, Ben Hill County, and Wilcox County, those 4 counties. And they send us every year their funding request for the next fiscal year. They are on the same fiscal year as the state, which is the July 1 fiscal year. So for next year, and they normally submit 3 requests for funding, for supplemental funding for the Superior Court from the counties, supplemental funding for the Juvenile Court from the counties, and funding for a data exchange project from the counties. So for next year, for Superior Court, they're requesting $429,000 from the circuit which 84,000 would be from Dooley County. Last year, they requested $351,000 from the circuit and $68,000 from the county. For juvenile court, they're requesting $135,909 from the circuit, or $26,000 from Dooley County, and that's the same level of funding as our current year. The data exchange project, in real simple terms, that's a project that they started 15, 20 years ago, I don't remember exactly, to try to help all the different court agencies share information, from the magistrate court to the sheriff department to the clerk of superior court to the superior court judges to the district attorney's office and the public defender's office. It was the concept, the idea was a good idea, but I don't think they never got it to work quite like they wanted. So they're abandoning that project. So they're not requesting any money this year for that. Previously, it's always been $33,000 for the circuit and $6,000 from the county. So they're requesting, sum it up, for as far as superior court, they're requesting a circuit-wide increase of $78,000 or an additional $15,000 from Dooley County. As far as the juvenile court, they're not requesting any increase in that. And as far as the data exchange project, they're doing away with that funding, so they're decreasing their request for that. You got a copy. It's a relatively large package they submitted. I suggest y'all take it with you, and we'll leave this on the agenda for next time. Give y'all time to read that, their request.
Steve, did I hear that what they're basically asking for total is an additional $9,000?
In the ballpark, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be, and it's in this, I think it's in here somewhere.
Is there an expectation, though, that they'll come back next year with a different data exchange, or we'll be trying to fund that in addition to this increase? So it's really not being, see what I'm saying? Don't know.
Don't know, can't answer that. So that's all the items I have for the regular session. I would like to request yeah, that's
from last year, 2024.
From last year's. They're referring to something he did last year to justify something.
They're trying to show, I think, that they didn't just come up with this.
So, I'd like to request an executive session, talk about threatened litigation.
Pending
litigation. Personnel.
I make a motion to go into executive session for those reasons.
I second.
There has been motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands. Okay, that motion carries, and now we'll enter into executive session.
I'd like to.
Don, you hang around.
Don.
Okay. He already knows.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Darryl, would you hang on you come on a bit, on, if you step outside for just a second, Darryl, you come on up front to the table, Darryl.
Right now.
Okay, let me turn the.
This conference will now be recorded.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of executive session as read in executive session. I second.
There has been motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands. Okay, my motion carries.
Do we have something out waiting?
Mr. Lester,
Mm-hmm.
you have a motion?
Yeah, let me see who's out here first. Wait, make sure
To my knowledge, nobody's out there.
Oh, okay.
We'll never know.
Everybody left?
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn this evening.
I second.
Okay. God dog. All in favor, please stand up and left.